Thanks so much.
As usual. Yep.
As
Yeah.
is usual.
Yeah.
Really excited to be here today. Super excited to have the guests that we have this week on the show. And the reason why is because we have been doing weight loss and helping people to get well for decades. Between you and I, we could probably be close to Methuselah.
Yeah.
There's your biblical reference for the day.
Yes, we've been doing it for 800 years, right?
And looking good and keeping energetic while we're doing it. So really excited to have our guests today because they've just done some incredible things in their health and wellness, and they're willing to share their story of their incredible transformation and transformation that continues to happen. So without further ado, we'll welcome our guests today, Linda and Robin. We're going to leave their last names anonymous in case you guys try to stalk them later. So welcome, Linda and Robin, to this morning's Master Your Life show. How are you doing today?
Fabulous.
Fabulous. And so let's just start out with the beginning steps of how you got involved in the Health on Command program, and maybe more importantly, where you were at before we started working together. So Linda, we'll start with you. What was going on in your health before we got rolling and working together?
My health was really kind of crappy. I'd had cancer 2 different summers, and all of that entailed multiple surgeries. Some of what I thought I was blaming on the cancer is actually the anesthetic from the surgeries. And even before that happened, of course, I've been overweight most of my life, certainly most of my adult life. So, I have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and, have to take high blood pressure pills and all that entails. So and exercise, that was like non-existent before I met you. Like, my health was really kind of like in the tank.
Yeah. And how was it affecting your day-to-day life?
So, I'm an accountant, so, I could still get my fat butt into my chair at work and work what I needed to work. But I never realized how much brain fog I had until I did that 10 days no sugar thing, because it was like, oh my God, does this mean, like, I don't know what the last time I ever had that clarity and felt that clear in life, right? Mm-hmm. And then otherwise, and I always kind of said, I blamed it on cancer. I lost a lot of physical strength when I went through 2 years of treatments for cancer. But when I think about it, I was like, oh, I can't do that. My knee hurts. Oh, I can't do that. That hurts my back. When I think back on multiple years, I'm like, instead of just admitting that I was fat and couldn't do that, or out of shape and couldn't do those things, I just blamed it always on, a part of my body. It was easier than looking in the mirror seriously.
Yeah, so you certainly had a different perspective on some of those issues you had coming through the program, right?
Right.
You saw things differently.
Yeah, and they haven't magically gone away. I'd love to say, gee, in so many weeks, all of those things have gone away. The big thing that changed for me is how I think about my health and time for myself, not just my health, like some of the other things you have us doing, like the journaling and the A to Zs, they've really changed how I look at life, not just at my health, and the priorities that I've changed in my life.
That's great. That's great. Robin, how about you?
Before I started the program, I was completely out of shape. About 2 years ago, I had broken my foot in over 100 places. And like Linda, had blamed everything on, oh, I got this way, I keep falling because my foot hasn't healed, I did nerve damage. I found every reason to blame my falling, my anger, to going back to when I had broke my foot. My son had been diagnosed with a fatty liver and an enlarged spleen. Our health was horrible. I felt like I was extremely overweight, and I had spent every day so angry, but with no energy. No energy, wouldn't do my hair, ponytail it was every day, hardly ever put makeup on. It was too much energy to put on a set of rings or a necklace, or mentally, I think I was worse off than more physically, because the kids had made me stay somewhat active, but it was not easy to stay active with them. That 10-minute walk was like, can we go home already? Or I would take them to the park, we'd walk to the park, but I'd sit on the bench and just sit there and do nothing. And I didn't have the energy to get up and play with them or do anything.
And so can we just mention your ages, ladies?
I am 35.
And how old are your kids, Robin?
I have an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old.
Beautiful. And Linda, if you dare, you can just say decade.
Oh, I'm proud of it. I'm 62. Once you've had cancer twice, every year it's a milestone.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. I really couldn't agree with you more. The reason, and thank you ladies for sharing that, because I think when people listen to the show, that it's hard to picture exactly what you might look like. They can see your face when they come and check out our YouTube videos, but while they're listening, as a listening audience, it's really nice to go, oh, okay, well, this lady is, around my age, or she's, had some of the same life experiences that I've had. They've had some family experiences. They've had some challenges that are the same. The other thing I want to point out is you mentioned that you're accountant. You have an accounting business. So that's another level of stress for people is, you're a business owner as well. So it's not as if you're an accountant working for somebody. You're an accountant who has their own business. Can you talk a little bit about, just how your health affects your business? I know you said that it's okay to get your butt in the chair, that you could do that. But with, no energy or your brain not necessarily being clear, what does it affect? Or what could it affect?
It definitely affects, I wouldn't say it affected the quality, the end product that I put out for a client.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that when I did have health issues, that the end product was in doubt or suspect, I had other people double checking that I'd done it properly or all that. But when I don't have that clarity, so last night I came back to work after a meeting with a coworker. I got back to work about 5:30 and I worked till about 2 in the morning. I probably got 3 times as much work done in that time as I would have before some of that other, and that's the whole clarity of thinking. I came in, now I stand up and do Qigong about every hour and a half. It's just some of those little things, and get up and move a little bit, and, not just make a mad dash to the bathroom and back to get my work done. And so consequently, I'm getting more done in a lot less time at work, and faster and not more accurate, but more thought process going into it, less robotic. Because of course, doing numbers all day long, you can become very robotic. But if you're a good accountant, you always look at what more can I do for that client, and certainly doing that way more now.
Are you surprised at the difference between you having started on the program and where you were before? Are you surprised at the change? Would you have been able to predict that? Did you imagine that was going to happen?
I think I'm beyond surprised. I'm shocked. I was always very focused when it came to work. If something was going to slack, first thing that would slack would be housework, because that's really quite boring, right? And then it'd be like I'd spend less time with my husband and I'd spend less time with my mom. Like, I always found the time to do my work. But I absolutely, when you talked about brain fog, I was going, la, 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 that's not me, that's everybody else. I have no brain fog. I can work day and night, right? And I'm amazed at how what I thought was important 3 months ago, my focus has completely changed. And in that, 3 months ago, it was like, oh, I got to lose some weight. The weight now to me is secondary. It's all the other things that I got to do, right? It's making my body more nimble. It's making my brain more alert. Those have become kind of my higher priorities than losing the weight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so have you had to go to the gym?
No. Gym? Ah!
That guy named Jim, he gets such a bad rap.
I have been to the gym because my grandson plays volleyball, so I have gone to the gym to watch him play volleyball. I have not gone to the gym. We have an elliptical here at the office, so sometimes I hop on there for, a few minutes here and there and use the elliptical, but for the most part, I've been doing the Qigong that you've helped us through and learn. And I have walking YouTubes. They're actually Weight Watcher walking YouTubes, because in a previous life I did Weight Watchers. And so that's what I've been doing, and just walking around town more. Like, I always did walk, but I walk more now, and I walk faster, and I walk standing different and all the rest of it, right? Like, my stature has changed. I think that's what I find the most amazing through all this. I actually feel like I'm like 2 or 3 inches taller, because I'm no longer hunched over trying to become invisible. I'm actually standing up straight and walking straight and all those things. I haven't had to go to my physiotherapist or my chiropractor since we started the program. That's huge for me. That's used to be what kept me going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think posture is very important. Posture is very important. I think you've discovered that.
Yes.
And we don't think about it much, but it's very important that alignment in your body really minimizes pain. Certainly helps with weight too, better weight distribution, and so many other things, probably mentally as well. Keeping upright and aligned is really critical. And until you see the difference, you wouldn't imagine that. But again, I think that's one of those areas where you have seen the difference. Absolutely.
At the age of 35, I thought I knew how to stand. But doing the program, I now can stand through my son's entire volleyball game or hockey game, because I really didn't know how to stand. I didn't know how to find that center of gravity and to breathe. That was the other part, but the whole program. So yeah, sounds simple to just be able to stand and to walk properly, but without the program, I was doing it all wrong.
Yeah, and many people do. It's interesting. I saw a photograph of New York City taken like 100 years ago. And you look at the people walking around. First of all, the guys are wearing top hats. Okay, and they're very erect. I mean, you can't wear a top hat and slump, the thing will fall off, right? And the women are very upright. The posture is so noticeably different, and that's to do with greater mobility back then, better diet back then, not extra weight back then. It's really just amazing. It looks like some fantasy. But look at people's posture today. It's horrendous. And that's one of the reasons why there is a lot of pain. So that's great that you were able to learn something what seems to be as simple as standing and being aligned, but it's got huge consequences. Huge.
And so, Linda, did you need to buy any supplements?
No, I haven't bought any supplements. My oncologist has really kind of warned me against most supplements, warned me against a lot of those things. She said, unfortunately, they don't list all the ingredients in there. They can have multiple other things in there. And so from a cancer standpoint, they really recommend almost no vitamins, no anything. She said a multivitamin is all you should need to take. And I disregarded that because I never did drink much milk, and so I would get terrible leg cramps. And so I was doing, you know, the potassium and the magnesium and the calcium. And as I ran out of them, I went, okay, so I ran out of potassium. I wonder what that's really going to look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped taking the potassium. That's probably been 3 weeks. I haven't been taking potassium, and I haven't had a leg cramp yet. So I really think that some of my leg cramping or all those other crampings were, again, poor everything, right? Not because I needed another supplement but the supplements did help, but they didn't fix the problem. They just made it less painful.
Sure. So they almost masked what was going on so you could continue to work and continue to do the things that were causing you more pain versus dealing with symptomology. So Robin, let's ask you a little bit more about your journey, you know, into the foray of things. So you noticed that you, as an accountant also, so you're an accountant, you work,
Yes.
long hours, you travel a lot. Can you just talk a little bit about the challenges, and you're a parent? So can you talk a little bit about your challenges from your perspective?
Before I had joined the program, we always ate at McDonald's and Tim Hortons and Ito's. I thought we were doing relatively well, you know, having a bagel for breakfast, doing a whole bunch of these other things. You know, your hips hurt because you were stuck in the car for 4 hours to get to a 2-hour hockey game. So you just put the heated seat on in the car, and I thought we were doing relatively well. Since joining the program, there's been so many changes. My confidence level with other parents has gone way up. My son, yes, he is a fabulous hockey player, and he really is on the top end of our leagues. And that created some animosity between the parents. Why don't you take your child to another community where he can be challenged more? And I always kind of did the hesitant, I don't know what to do. Now with the clear mind and the brain fog gone, it is a hard no. He's here to play with his friends. This is what we do. Being a parent is much easier. There's a lot less fighting in my house. Partly Parker has done, like my son has done a lot of the program as well. So his mood and his brain fog is mostly gone. He is a hormonal boy, so it's not going to be completely gone. But I'm not getting called into the school weekly anymore for him having an outburst and beating up another child. There was a whole bunch that for us has just changed. And even in my work life. So at one time it would be too overwhelming for me to be able to talk to an auditor, go meet a new client, trying to build up the practice. I would always be like, hey, Linda, you want to come with me? Because you're asking me to talk way too much to other people. Yesterday, I spent an hour in the morning talking with different auditors, and then went for a 3-hour lunch and picked up a potentially a really nice client. And came home and still had the energy. We still had supper on the table and made it to volleyball and hockey practice. And the communication in my house has increased because we're not just staring at each other going, now what are we going to cook for supper?
Are you surprised too?
when I joined the program, it was all about the weight loss. I thought I was mentally strong. I'm a single mom. I've been doing this for 11 years. I've got this. I had no idea how terrible my mental health state was in. And how I would walk around going, oh, I can't talk to that mom because, oh my gosh, look, her hair is beautiful. Oh, that mom is a little bit of a snob. I wouldn't talk to them. I was happy to sit in my car and not deal with the dance moms and the hockey moms. Now I walk into the arena and I really do feel like I own it. My kid is the best player, and that is something we should be proud of and not be putting it under the carpet going, it's okay. Yeah, he shouldn't be playing in this league. He should be playing AA. No, he wants to be out there playing with his friends. And he also has the confidence because this year he decided not to play on the A team. He's playing on the B team just so he's having fun, not being as competitive. Mm-hmm. And as an 11-year-old boy, I think that's huge to have that confidence in himself to know exactly what he wants.
So it sounds like you both developed a lot of confidence in
yes.
a relatively short time. That's fantastic. It really is. Yeah.
And Robin, you were telling me the other day about how Parker's just doing so much better with schoolwork. Like, he was never a dumb child, I get that. But now you're saying, you know, we can sit and I can explain to him where he's going wrong. And he's really picking up, you know, the LA and the math and that. So I think when I watch what Parker is doing, it really makes me aware of the changes in me, because it's so obvious in an 11-year-old to watch the changes.
Yes, because as an adult, we would always go, I want to throw that textbook, but we didn't. He just would pick it up and huck it across the room with the kitchen chair. And Linda and I laugh quite often because there was an incident when Parker was 4 or 5. He was little. And we were in a restaurant, and I'm not sure what set him off, but as I was hauling him out of the restaurant, like every other mother would, he looked back at me and I could see it in his eyes that he was mad. And he took a really heavy chair and flipped it across the restaurant. And I was horrified. I grabbed that little boy's arm and out to the car we went. And I'm sitting in the front seat and he's in his car seat. And I was absolutely horrified going, I'm the worst mom in the world. And we all joke about how my son will just flip a chair when he gets mad.
And I think that's a really good defense mechanism. So a lot of parents can really, really, really relate to this, Robin. And that's why it's so incredibly awesome that you're willing to share this stuff, because so many parents are sitting there right now listening to this, 40,000 plus, nodding their heads going, oh my God, I remember my child was doing this and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I was a school counselor for many years, and you know, we'd see little people come to school struggling with all kinds of stuff, and having these angry, responses, frustration, anger, sadness, depression, and all by grade 3. You know, self-esteem hitting the toilet. And so, as I segue into the question about how much people don't think that digestion and feeling good in your body affects how you show up in the world. Because as you mentioned when we started the interview, part of what your participation in the program has really been about is your son's health, and that he was diagnosed with fatty liver, and you've been kind of dealing with that as a part and parcel of the program. So can you just talk a little bit more about like the experience for him? And kind of coming through some of this stuff. I know he's not out of the, woods yet, but that's coming, right? So maybe just from a mom's perspective or a parent's perspective.
So he's lost 10 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
Which as an active child, we always wondered, he looked odd. He had an extended stomach, he had man boobs, but yet he is that child that I would have to open my front door and call for him to come home because he was out playing soccer with his friends, playing ball, riding his bike. Wasn't that I wasn't being active with him.
Yeah.
I always made sure he had his fruit and vegetables in a day. Early on in life, because his stomach looked odd and he was having bathroom issues constantly. In grade 3, the teacher said, no, this is not an anger problem with him. You need to keep going back to the doctor till you get results. And he was diagnosed with a blockage in his intestine.
Mm-hmm.
So he had killed all of the nerve endings in his bowels. So he no longer knew when he had to go, didn't know if he had to go. It would just seep out. And he lost a lot of self-confidence in himself about it because he did smell. It was, even when he wasn't having seepage, he still smelled. It was all that food in his body that was a toxin to him. He was really struggling both academically and friendship. He had picked some pretty bad friends, or I felt pretty bad friends. He was getting constantly suspended from school. I was in to see the principal at least once a month. I would take Linda with me every couple of months because somebody had to get to the bottom of it. We would always joke that, pretty soon you're going to be out of penalty minutes and you're going to be suspended for hockey because you're only allowed so many penalties. But so we've started the program. He is doing fabulous on it. His grades jumped at least 10%. The only time I've been to the principal's office this year is because it was parent-teacher interviews and I hadn't heard anything in 6 weeks, so I was a little bit concerned. And the principal was like, no, he's doing amazing. He hasn't been in here once other than to tell me he had a great day. And I'm like, this is great. He goes to the bathroom now every morning faithfully, and he used to have to wait for gravity to do his thing while taking a lot of laxatives. He sits there, and Leah, you've taught him some amazing techniques. He no longer has to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to sit on the toilet till whatever time. Sometimes he didn't make it to school on time. So we go see the doctor in a month, not even, in a few weeks, about the fatty liver and the enlarged spleen. But his stomach is no longer extended. His man boobs are pretty much gone. He was a men's medium. Now if he was shorter, he would be back into kids' clothes because the men's smaller, they look too big on him. His pants actually fell down in the volleyball game last night.
Quality problem.
And it was amazing because normally he would have been so embarrassed by it. And he just stands up and he goes, look at me, as he's pulling up his pants going, this is okay. Where I think 6 months ago, he would have run off the court, probably swearing at everybody. Mm-hmm. And now he's just, okay, I got this. That's kind of embarrassing, but I still had underwear on.
Right. Yeah. And you would have also had a response to that was different than, right? Like your response would have been to be out in the car or to go out to the car and to be mortified for the next however long. And then do just do the stuff that takes you down the path. I'm so incredibly happy for you all. It's just, when I talk to people about results and they go, why do you even care about this stuff? When people hear the interviews of the life-changing things that happen for people, there's no way that it can't be like just felt in your heart by everyone who's a parent, by everyone who's a grandparent, by everyone who owns a business, that this is real world stuff that affects from the moment you wake up in the morning until the moment that you go to sleep at night. Your body is not at rest. It's not having fun. It's not having a good time. And so the incredible gift that you're giving to people is that you're sharing this like the way out, and that it really does work in ways that are that we can't explain to people. Like you actually have to go through the process to really have your own experience. It's like we use this example lots on the show. We'll say, you know, you can show people your pictures to Brazil, the trip to Brazil, but they still haven't gone to Brazil. You know, so you can read a million magazines and you can think about doing many, many things, but until you actually take the journey yourself, for yourself, and feel the amazing results and lifelong results that you can really have by learning the things that we do in Health on Command, which are far and apart different from any other program that I am aware of in the world. So again, when people say, how can you say that this is the world's leading program on this? Well, because I don't know any other programs for weight loss where people can have these kinds of results that affect their entire family long term. I can see people that lose 10, 20 pounds, then they put it on, then they take it off, and they're part of a support group for the next 50 years, but they don't actually deal with like the whole family system, and they don't have a recognition of just how much brain fog influences mental health. Thank you, Robin, for bringing up people's success and satisfaction with life. Like, you ladies are smart cookies, man. Like, you're accountants, you're educated, you're giving your gift of knowledge to the world, of taking care of people's books. Like, you're not some sort of schleps that just don't have things figured out, and you're sitting there eating bonbons and expecting somebody else to do stuff for you. You ladies have it dialed in. And so when other people in the world go, why can't I figure this thing out? I'm smart. When they hear people like you talking about this stuff, they go, hey, those ladies are smart. I don't have it figured out because I just didn't know what to do. Like, that's really the truth of it. You guys just really didn't know what to do. I think, would you like kind of agree with that it was, you just really didn't have a clue? You kind of thought you were doing some things that were on track. Like, I know, Linda, you thought that you were feeding your family really healthy from an early age on, right?
Sure. You know, absolutely. Cook for them, made, you know, not just cook for them, cook for the world sometimes, it felt like, right? Lots of entertaining, but mostly from scratch kind of stuff. But just never realized even how much sugar was in everything I bought. Mm-hmm. I'm still amazed at how much sugar is in everything out there. I pick up something to read it and I'm in shock, right? But then it's like, okay, so if I'm going to take the sugar out of my life, what am I going to replace it with, right? And it's been a bit of a struggle that way, for sure. How do you change this so that it still appeals to your taste buds and all of those things? But as I get more and more into the program, it becomes easier and easier. Mm-hmm. And yesterday was not a very successful day, and I knew it wouldn't be. And, you know, today's another day. And I never used to just do that. I'd be like, oh, well, you fell off the wagon yesterday. I certainly can't get back on today because now I have to wait till Monday to restart, right? Because if you fall off the wagon in the middle of the week, that just gives you an excuse to be off the wagon for 3 or 4 more days to really have a good time. Whereas this morning I got up and I'm like, okay, I'll do some journaling, and did my A to L's because I ran out of time on the way to work. And it's becoming more and more a daily routine, not a must-have to. It is just what I do now, which is what I find amazing because, you know, I've done all the other, you know, I'm going to work out, and I do that for about 3 days and I fall off the wagon, maybe a little bit longer than 3 days. Or, you know, you join Weight Watchers and you think that becomes a way of life, but it really doesn't, because they just kind of substitute. Oh, you're on Weight Watchers, here, eat these bars instead of changing what you're actually going to eat. You just eat different, but you don't really change. I don't know how to explain that very well, but this is changing how I even look at what's going into my mouth, but all the other things in my life. Mm-hmm. I used to pride myself on being at work and getting it done and looking after my family. And honestly, I can say there were days that I don't even know, other than for brushing my teeth and having a quick shower, that there was any me time in a day. And I think the biggest thing that Leah and Howard have done for me is taught me, no, you need some me time. You need some time, not necessarily to read a book or do all those things. You need some time to reflect on who you want to be and how you're going to get there.
Yeah, yes, thank you. And you're exactly right. You have embraced the program, which is really getting you to look at what you can do and giving you the tools rather than I'm just going to follow this meal plan and everything's going to be okay. You know, so that is so crucial. You have been able to embrace this sort of whole person approach, which focuses on every part of you, as you said, every part of you. So well done, well done.
And Robin, for you?
For me, before joining the program, I had done TOPS, I had been to the gym, I'd done Weight Watchers, I'd taken all these supplements. And yes, at one point I had dropped off the 80 pounds that I had put on after having children by doing all of these great things. And then like Linda, life got in the way. Pretty soon I gained all 120 back.
Mm-hmm.
But not once did I ever feel happy internally. I'd gone through a divorce when I lost that weight, never dealt with any of that on the inside of me. And to be able to walk around feeling proud and tall and just like a pineapple, mm-hmm. Right? So all of that, it's not even just a weight loss program, because there is way more to your health and wellness than just the weight loss. Mm-hmm. Even when I was down and under, like sitting at my ideal weight, I could never touch my toes. I can touch my toes. I learned that last night. I never slept through the night. I'm now constantly sleeping through the night. And when my brain starts going a mile a minute thinking, don't be in bed right now, Robin, you need to get up and you need to do the dishes. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, I know how to turn it off. I've been given those tools for the most part to say, I'm done. It is 11 o'clock. I have to be up in a few hours, go to sleep. And to sleep solidly, no longer waking up snoring, not waking up going, oh, okay, I slept for 45 minutes. Now it's time to go clean the bathroom. Or mm-hmm. Those are all things I have definitely learned through the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even my son.
Sorry, go ahead, Robin. Yeah.
So Parker was a child that never slept through the night. And this is where I learned the bad sleeping habits. He would wake up with night terrors about every 45 to an hour. And unless I slept with him or kept a heavy weighted blanket on him, medicated him, couldn't get him to sleep through the night. And everybody's like, well, just do what you got to do. And then other people would be like, no, don't, just put an alarm system, let him be. He's having a night terror, right? And mm-hmm. You cannot let your child roam the house while he's having a night terror, especially when he was so angry, right? Mm-hmm. So I learned my sleeping patterns through him. He now, like last night, I had company, and a responsible mom would have gone and put him to bed on time, but I didn't. And so when I went to go get him and to tell him it's time for bed, he had already put himself to bed on the couch. He had grabbed a blanket and grabbed a pillow, and there he was, sleeping on the couch with his dog. And that's where he stayed until 5 after 6 this morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this, Robin, is the significance of this. Because, can you just tell the audience what age he started that at?
Not sleeping through the night?
Not sleeping through the night.
Birth?
Yeah, and
I always had one of the two that were always,
yeah,
either one was waking up for feeding or the other one was waking up. Between the two kids, one of them was always up. Mm-hmm. And I used to have to go to my mom's house and say, can you please take them? I need a good night's sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Parker's 11. That's 11 years of not sleeping. So when people go, I don't know why I feel so awful. It's because often there's so many things going on that it's difficult to actually unravel them. So what we see and what we talk to people about is weight loss, because it's the most obvious symptom of just all of the misalignment. So it's the easy one for us to say, hey, you know what, guys, if you're overweight, give us a call or get on the schedule, because most people can look at themselves and go, yeah, I have got a few extra pounds of weight that I don't like. But exactly what you guys pointed out, and thank you again, is like you didn't actually even realize how much brain fog you had. You didn't realize how awful you were feeling. You didn't realize how crappy your sleep was. You didn't realize that you should be taking me time. You didn't realize how much stress you were under. You didn't realize even that you weren't eating great food, or how much sugar was in things, that your mental health was compromised. You are exactly like everybody else. And so that's why we just say to people, can you just look at your body? Let's just start there, because it's the easiest way for us to softly bring people in, and also for them to softly come into us and say, hey guys, you know what, I would like to lose, 20, 30, 50, 80 pounds, whatever. But then we can get into a real conversation a little bit, and then ease it in a little bit at a time. Because it is a surprise. And again, thanks, Howard, for those great questions. Were you surprised? Like, are you surprised by the outcomes? And not just for you, for your family, and that he would learn the skill in such a short time of being able to go to sleep on his own. For people who are listening who go, God, I haven't slept in 11 years. I can so totally relate to this family and to the struggle. And with also the huge amount of people that are dealing with gut issues, because of the food that we have available, our lifestyles right now, just sharing sort of, as maybe not as pretty as it is, of a picture of what's going on in people's digestive system. His little belly button was sticking out. His little belly was so distended that his belly button was sticking out. And I think a lot of adults can relate, like if you look at your body and you go, what's actually happening here below my selfie picture? Like, what's going on, and is my body actually functioning? And to be able to hear this really incredible full ownership of where your health was, and Parker's as well, we just so much appreciate his participation in this and playing along with us too, because what we do is a lot of play stuff, and people go, what do you mean you play, you have a good time? Like, we do. Like, do you think we play a bit in the program? Is it playful?
It is definitely fun. You never know what you're going to get. Life's like a box of chocolates.
What the heck did she just say? No.
I think the biggest surprise with the program was how, when I don't do what I'm supposed to do because I'm not a very good rule follower outside of work, I never feel like I'm getting beat up by either one of you. I never feel like I'm a failure. I never feel like it's like, okay, what are you going to do different today? It's not like, oh, you did that yesterday. It's like, it's kind of like falling off the wagon and still waiting to Monday to reset. I'm actually going to reset. I already reset this morning, right?
Yeah.
Those are tools that you guys gave me that I never had before. So, previously you'd go to a meeting once a week or whatever, and it was always about, wow, you fell off the wagon, get back on the wagon. You kind of felt like, and I don't know why I always felt like this, but stepping on the scale and having someone else read that number to me was far more scary than me stepping on the scale and reading my own number. Like, I don't know how to read a number, but you guys have never even asked us the numbers. Mm-hmm. It's about just changing, not even so much about the weight, it's about all the other things, right? And I know I've never told Howard this, but I know Leah knows this. I was sexually abused from when I was 5 till I was 19. Mm-hmm. This program has given me the strength to put that to bed. So you've never counseled me on it. You've never done any of those things. But I have the self-confidence to say, I wasn't the screw up when I was 5 years old. The people around me were the screw ups. And yes, they're family. And yes, I have to have them in my daily, weekly, whatever life. I'll live through that. At one point, I actually made an appointment with the counselor to work through it, and then went, there's nothing left to work through. I'm 60 years old. Can I not let something that's 40 years old go? And I did. Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's an amazing testament to your progress and evolution. It really is. It's hard to let those things go, but when you feel that you are aligned, when you feel you're more on track, when you feel that you are really loving yourself appropriately, that's when you can do that. And then you can say, I'm just not going to let it bother me anymore. I'm done with it. You know, it's bogged me for 40 years. So that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. And Robin, I want to give you a little bit of airtime at the end here too. If you would like to share any sort of final stuff, because you may, or you may not.
I just can't believe the difference in who I am. I was always this person on the inside, but there was not enough self-confidence and self-love to be able to be this person on the outside. So my close friends and my close family knew who exactly I was. But I used to be that mom that would sit in the car going, please let dance lessons be over. Please, nobody come to me. I can't do this. I couldn't make eye contact with people. I would walk into the principal's office looking at my shoes, and that's definitely not who I've become now.
And did it take forever?
No.
Hell no, right? It's like we say hell yeah a lot in the program, but we also like to encourage a little hell no. And you know, ladies, I just can't thank you enough for like the sharing of this stuff, because again, we talk a lot about helping a lot of people with similar, similar profiles. A lot of people have been sexually abused. So many people, and everyone's journey is their own journey. So we don't pile everybody into the same story. We don't, it's like we look at people really as individuals, and how important it is to honor everybody's journey. How incredible it is when people have enough courage to share with other people the stuff that has been so hard and has held you down in your life, and that you are out of it. And the thought, I guess, that I think is always, if somebody who is 60 or 70 years old, who's still stuck in this emotional turmoil, can take some sort of lead from you and go, oh, you mean I could actually do some other things to get confident, I could take all of my mojo back, I could take everything back? Hell yeah, absolutely you can. You just got to be with the right people to do it, right? I think that really is a differentiator. So again, ladies, thank you so much. And Parker is a rock star. I think anyone who has kids who are struggling with health issues, know that you can get help here at Health on Command. We love families. We love individuals. And we really do want to see people be well, because we know how much more gifts there are in the world when people feel incredibly good and when they can walk into their day with confidence. And that it's lifelong. Can you imagine 5 years from now how your lives are going to be? And in 10 years, how your lives are going to be, and how Parker's life is going to be now that he has changed every single thing really about his experience from the moment that he wakes up to the time he goes to bed. And that's not a gift that you would have had if you would not have made a decision to join this program. So I want you to give yourselves a pat on the back as we wrap up this little interview for today. And thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. That's all for Howard and I for this week. And I invite you all to love yourselves, mind your mind, and give us a call or join our close Facebook group at Health on Command if you would like to find out more about our program. And again, have a fantastic week. That's all for us. Bye for now.